Once again, my name is Anne Babazi. I'm a poet, I'm a writer, and I'm an influencer. Yeah, I think that's all about me. But I'm very excited to be here today, and so you should be as well. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me give us a brief introduction about our panelists for today. We're going to have Mr. Brian. He's the founder and the CEO, Tubayo Group. And then we're also going to have Mrs. Hawa Keita. And she's already in the building. Hello.
Hello, glad to be here.
Yeah, we're also very happy to have you today. Mr. Brian is also in the building. You're very welcome, sir. And also Mr. Raymond, I think is around. Yeah, he's also in the building. Wow, exciting. Our panelists are all here. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, give them time to unmute and greet us, introduce themselves better, and then we shall kick off to the next on our agenda. Thank you so much. I'll begin with you, Mr. Brian, if you do not mind.
I'm super grateful for this opportunity. It's an exciting one. I can't wait to share and learn from the other panelists. So yeah.
Yeah, we're also excited to have you. I think let's now have Hawa Keita and unmute and also greet us.
Hello, and thank you so much for the introduction. So my name is Hawa Keita. I'm the executive director of CEED Concordia. So we're based between Canada and Uganda, and we focus on youth skills development in Gulu and in Montreal, Canada. So very glad to be here and to learn from you all.
Yeah, we're also happy to have you as well. Let me ask Mr. Raymond to also unmute and say hello. And yes, then we'll have the next thing.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Raymond Mujuni. I am the current affairs head for the National Media Group in Uganda. I'm a journalist for the National Media Group.
Wow, thank you so much. Really, I want to promise everyone on this platform that we are going to learn a lot. And as you all can see, according to our topic today, we have creme de la creme. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our representative from Bakash Media Foundation to tell us more about this wonderful platform and all the programs that are cooking up and coming up this coming season. Yeah, allow me to welcome Mr. Bakashaba Isaac.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Anne. I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. All right. I welcome you all to this 5th episode of our Career Essential Series, Season 2. My name is Isaac Wakashaba. I'm the team lead and the founder at Bakash Media Foundation. I welcome you all, our panelists and our audience that has been consistent for I think since July when we started this Career Essential Series. Purposely, we started up the Career Essential Series, which are virtual due to the lockdown of all in educational institutions. So we lacked the physical interaction with our audience. Hence, we started this series to see how we can interact with our audience, how we can guide them on the best career approaches and the dynamics of the career industry. So we've been hosting resourceful personalities like the ones we have today to discuss, tell us their story, their insights about different topics. So I'm glad today we are hosting, I'm hosting, personally, I've known these people, Raymond, Hawa, and Brian. They are great people. They are change makers of our society today. I've learned a lot from them. I look up to them, and I'm also willing to learn a lot from them today. Now that they're telling us about the jobs of the future, how we can prepare, mostly in this pandemic, where all things and work has changed, the mode of work and everything going digital. So they will tell us today about it, and I know they are prepared for it. Bakash Media Foundation is devoted to providing this career information to our audience, and we've been doing this for the last 2 years now. We celebrated our 2nd anniversary in May, and we've been doing it with different projects. We've had career breakfasts, we've had career clinics. We've had career essential series that we have now, and many others that are underway. So we are devoted to spreading this powerful information and through talks. Going forth, we started up a campaign during these sessions to help us execute these sessions effectively. So we always have a campaign that is running where we fundraise from our panelists and our audience. So if you're willing to join us on this journey, you can kindly be with us, and so that as we bridge the gap between the employers or people in the career field and then our audience. So the numbers and the accounts are in the chat. I think the admin will share them, where you can fundraise, you can contribute anything that you feel would be so helpful to us to execute these projects and these career essential series that are running every week, each and every Thursday. And to our partners, we thank you so much. We have Birungi Charities and Opportunity Tracker that have been with us, that have helped us so much to execute these career essential series. I think they are around, Mr. Jonah Chiravo and Esther Birungi. Thank you so much for making this easy for us. And to our panelists, thank you so much for honoring our invite. I know we disturbed you with a lot of calls, emails, and middle of the night, most especially Raymond. But thank you so much for making it. I know you people are all so busy, but thank you so much for sparing your time to join us on this journey, as our main goal is ending youth unemployment. Thank you so much. And I think on behalf of my team, and you can take it on. That's all from me. I wish you a deliberate discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakashawa Isaac. That is the founder of Bakash Media Foundation. And I'm very excited today. Our topic is preparing for the jobs of the future. Interesting, isn't it? It is a very interesting topic, and I want to kick right into it with our panelists. And just an information to pass by, you can check the inbox. They're going to give us the account numbers and a way that we can donate on the same issue that Bakashava has just talked about the fundraising for Bakash Media Foundation. Yes, preparing the jobs for the future. Yes, it is a very interesting topic. And I would like to know our panelists, how has your journey been in line with our topic today, in your preparation for the jobs of the future, just right then from when you started until right now where you are? Allow me to start with Brian, as we stated earlier, if it's ready. And then without interrupting, we shall have Mr. Raymond come in, then Hawa shall come in later. I'm giving you 5 minutes, if it's fine with you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just talk about how I got into all of this. Yeah, I remember this started in VAC. Of course, you're done with A-level, and kindly let me know if there's a lag. This is all right. But yeah, this started in VAC, in my A-level. After A-level, I joined my dad to part-time and work as he was doing branding and printing. And because I had love for art, I just wanted to pull off all these nice designs. And I remember that was like my first time to get into work. And during that time, I would go back to school and sell these printing services to print like banners for social, cards, and also do photography for kids. Yeah, maybe to give you a background, I went to Tubayo school and then King's College Buddha for A-level. So most of my business was with the King's College with school. And after that, I still didn't know what I was gonna do, but I joined campus and we're just applying. And I remember my course, I get into one of the registrar's office and they tell me there is an economics course that you should do. And that's how I ended up with an economics course at campus, Makerere University. But during that time, I kept at the branding, And then I started to grow a bigger purpose of let me contribute something to, my dad's business. You want to see it thrive, you want to see it grow. So I kept at that. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to contribute, I'm going to contribute great designs, because I had a way of learning from like the global markets to compare what are the best brands doing out there. If I got a job to brand like a boutique, I want to brand the way Versace was brand globally. So I had that, which so many people at NASA didn't have, but they would pay me very little. You go all the way, you research, but you come back and the guys are willing to pay just 50K, 30K, like they would pay anyone. But then I had this purpose of I have to make this a better business. So at school, I am doing it and I'm saving some money. I buy a smartphone way before all my like friends, because I was working while studying, and then I joined Instagram then. So I was among the few people. And when I joined Instagram, I started to tag my pictures, tagging these Nigerian and Kenyan pages to feature me, but they would never feature. And then I'm wondering, why don't they, or what's so hard about these pages? I've started a Ugandan page because I'm sure if I'm struggling to get featured on their pages, there's so many Ugandans who want to feature on those pages. And so, the whole thing of maybe like hot men in Africa, those kind of things where you feel really good about yourself. So I decided to start one called IG Uganda. That was one of the first Ugandan pages, to showcase Ugandan Instagrammers, repost them, help them with gaining followers. So that's how I journeyed through into the internet. And during that time, I had a friend. So as I was on social media, my friend was always looking up for motivation, following all these great guys that had done, great stuff. He was always putting up something. And if you had a challenge, he had like a quote for you, If you felt low, he would tell you how this moment would last or what. Those guys, instead of like, sympathizing with you, feeling the moment with you, they have like a quote to tell you just to get your. So I also picked up on that and I started following these quotes and the people who were saying them. And some of these guys were Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jack Ma, and their things were crazy. Like I remember following Steve Jobs' story and I was so inspired. This was an ordinary guy. And I remember something he said that which really stuck with me was everything you see around us or in in the world was done by people who are as ordinary as you are, and so you can choose to be that and do something to leave a dent in the universe. And I remember that sticking to me, saying, okay, because looking at his story, and I'm like, this is a guy who has developed Apple, the phone that everyone is using around the world. I'll tell you for a fact, before I think joining campus, I used to think only governments owned such big establishments, only like maybe the UNs and what owned such powerful organizations that impacted on people. So knowing that a person can actually choose to impact people that way was very motivating and inspiring. And so I started the pursuit for, what more can I do in life? And so I get excited about the internet. I read Mon Jack Ma, and the guy starts saying how he serves 500 million people a month. And I'm like, this is crazy. You do not serve half of Africa in 1 month, And one that blew me away was their 11/11 Singles Day, where they transacted over $32 billion in 1 day, and everything was accounted for. And I'm like, this is out of this world. How do you account for over 30 billion in 1 day and no single coin? And then you come back here and then there's like all this money, the economy, and people can't account for over $500 million. Things have disappeared everywhere. So I knew that we needed to develop systems and rely on technology, if we were to grow. So that's when I get the passion for that, just to do something as impactful. I decide I need to get into this sector. I need to get into tech. I need to get into e-commerce. And now I was left with deciding which industry sector was I going to get in. So I used my economics background to research and tell what were the fastest growing industries. Because I knew I was not going to do hardware. Hardware requires a lot of capital. You have to import, buy all those things. But service is just people. So I knew if I could convince a few guys, we had a shot at developing a very good service product. And so I had to find out what service sector do we get in first. And travel was the fastest growing. just slightly before COVID, because that was the time we really decided on it. It was growing faster than anything else. People were now more open to traveling. People were, any single money they make, they want to travel, want to go and enjoy. And I knew this was the sector for us to position in. So that's how I transitioned up to there. So I really didn't even know I was going to start a business. It was just the requirements as you keep growing. You're like, okay, now I need a bank account. But a bank account needs you to first register a business, and the bank account needs you to have a TIN number. So somehow I started to formalize without knowing exactly what I wanted to do. But this, just the passion and love for doing something really meaningful to me, got me evolving in this whole career to where we are. So starting in 2019, that's when we launched Tubayo, the website, and today we have a mobile app with over 15,000 downloads. With the web, we have over 50,000 users, and we are now enabling travel and hosting in 10 countries in Africa. And and we are award winning. So that has been the journey. It's a team of 14 people that are working daily to realize this vision for global travel, and also exploit the opportunity that we have in travel community. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing, and I would like to congratulate you on your recent reward. Congratulations! It's amazing, really, how you come up with all that. Let's have. Thank you so much. Let's have Mr. Raymond, if he's on board, and yes, we shall have Hawa later.
Thank you so much. Interesting to be here. I've had a very different career path. I studied law and I mastered in government and international relations, but I now practice journalism. And as a result of that, there's been like a lot of things that have happened in the last 10 years. And one of the things that I can immediately tell you is knowledge. When I set out when I went to law school, the first thing that they used to tell us in law school, we are educating you so that you can be lawyers to represent clients in courts of law. But part of the problems that clients bring to the courts of law are social problems that could have been solved way before they actually got to the courts of law. So the importance was to understand and try and solve a problem. So for me, the way I look at careers is not that I look for jobs, it's what problem exists in the market that I can solve. And through that solution, I can monetize my skills in a way that it earns for me something. So from as early as S4 vacation, I was writing for the Daily Monitor. And the passion for journalism for me was more intense. And even when it came to choosing courses to do at the university, a lot of the people that I spoke to at that time, including my parents, said, look here, you don't need to go into journalism school because you've practiced this thing for a long time and you put in your 10,000 hours. What you need is something that puts you above all the other journalists. So can you study a field that's different? Can you bring a little bit more information into the field? And that's what's happened with journalism. Over the last 10 years, journalism has changed. It's no longer about who went to journalism school. It's now about how can you explain concepts to people in an easy way that they can understand. So we have engineers who are doing journalism in terms of telling stories about cars, telling stories about machines. We have lawyers who are writing journalism about court processes and how court processes should be handled, and also doing some court reporting. And that's kind of shaped the way the field works. So for the young people out there, for me, the message that I give you is, one, first identify what problem there is in your community. Two, identify your own passions, because it's important that you are passionate about the things that you're passionate about. And then see, how does your passion solve the problem that exists in the community? And how do you apply yourself to that problem so that the solution is actually effective? And then after that, you can talk about how to monetize the knowledge that you've gotten. A lot of the young people today are fed into this career pipe where, one, it's about money, which is go and study this course, it will get you a lot of money. And a lot of the people who go to law school, that's the thing that they tell you. Go become a lawyer. Immediately you come out of with tons of money waiting for you. That's actually not true, because even in law school, even graduating top of the class, there's a couple of people who've not been able to be employed up to now. So the important point about creating value in the economy is for you to understand what you're passionate about, understand what problem exists in the community, understand how you can apply yourself to that problem to solve it in an effective way, and then continuously and consistently upgrade your knowledge. So the other thing that I do, and this is something that many people hate me for, but every day I read 100 pages of a book. So in the morning from 6 to 7 a.m., I'm reading. And in the evening from 10 to 11 p.m., I'm reading. In those times, I can't take a phone call. I can't do anything else. That time is important for me to update my knowledge on the things that I want to know. So I can go toe-to-toe and discuss everyone on economics. I can discuss politics. I can discuss sociology. I can discuss psychology. But this broad and general knowledge that I've gained through books has enabled me to put my foot up in terms of producing a solution for the market that I'm in. So in the market that I'm in, which is journalism, the biggest problem is information. Communities are not getting accurate information as and when they wish to get it. So it's important that I have a vast set of knowledge to be able to get people who have that information, have conversations with them so that that knowledge can get to others. So in a short span of 10 years, I've come from being an intern journalist to heading the current affairs of the Nation Media Group, which is the biggest media group in the whole of Africa. And the whole point has always been just increasing my flow of knowledge, but also applying myself and giving a solution to the crisis that face the profession. And I'd encourage so many other people to do that. Now, because I'm going away, I asked that I'd be away at 11:40. So I'll stay on the call, but immediately 11:40 I'll be going. So if anyone has questions for me, it'd be nice to ask them.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Raymond, and we really appreciate the time that you've given us. Though through your speech, it has risen a curiosity in me. How do you join Daily Monitor when you're just a senior folk-vocist? Well, you must have been having networking or something like that. It's just raising my curiosity right now.
Actually not. This is what happened. The Daily Monitor used to run a youth magazine called T-Vibe, and they used to ask people to contribute towards it. I used to contribute towards the T-Vibe on a voluntary basis. During my time in school, I used to be in the literature club. I used to write a lot of stuff. So I used to give it to the T-Vibe. So when I went into my vacation, the first thing that the monitor asked is, look here, you're a good writer. Why don't you join us in the newsroom and work with us? What we need is for you to be able to apply your writing skills towards journalism and tell stories in a impactful and compelling way. And that's how I got into the job.
Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, it gives us a lesson to seize every opportunity that comes our way. It could be your way to the next one. I understand we have a few minutes with you, but allow me first have Madam Hawa introduce herself, and then we shall have your questions and people that have questions for you. Allow me welcome Hawa, unmute and greet us and tell us how her journey has been to where she is right now.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to make it short and brief so that Mr. Mujuni will be able to speak. I'm actually from Senegal. I was born there and grew up in France. And it was for my studies that I wanted to live in another country. So I started to study in Canada and in finance. One element I want to mention is maybe you can hear it, but I am Francophone, and the first step that I tried to do as soon as I was starting my studies was to get out of my comfort zone and get into another culture, another language, where I thought could allow me to be more like a global citizen. So what I've studied there was finance. And after graduating, I have worked in the field for a certain amount of years, and we're mostly working in portfolio management for high net worth clients. But something I would like to mention is, like, as soon as I started my career university, I tried to accumulate as much experience as possible. So, for example, participating to programs that allow me to have internships throughout my journey, and also being involved in leadership position within the university. So, like, the journey always starts early. And then after working in finance for some years, I decided to go into something that really, really passionate me, which is sustainability and youth development. And that's actually how I joined CEED Concordia. So I also want to recap what my colleagues have said, how important it is to take a career field where you're really passionate about and where you know that you can solve an issue. And I decided to switch my career path and going into from portfolio management to nonprofits organization sector. And so that's how, you know, my career journey has been. But alongside, what I want to mention is I always try to get out of my comfort zone. And even if, you know, your career path might not necessarily be a classic one, let's say, do not hesitate to go into what you think, you know, you're interested about and where you know that you could have potential to develop new skills. So that was always a philosophy that I was trying to get, and also having a story that at the end can make sense. So I'm not going to go too much in detail right now. I'm sure that with the other questions, I will be able to develop furthermore what I was saying. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Hawa. That is brief and interesting. The quick lesson that I've learned out of it is to get out of my comfort zone if I need to get somewhere in my career journey. Back to Mr. Raymond. I understand you want to go, but I have one question for you, and the audience shall have another question for you. So if you're in the audience and you have a question for Mr. Raymond, please prepare it as fast as you can. So my question is, in the context of today's topic, what skills or training should one consider mastering at to be able to be on the advantage side in this competitive job market world? I would like to have Mr. Raymond answer that first, and then we shall have the other panelists.
Thank you. That's a really important question. But I don't think that there's a specific set of skills that you can train yourself for and say this is enough. You have to be able to be teachable every day, learn something new every day, because look at how fast the marketplace is changing. If you look at the marketplace 10 years ago, we're looking at like legacy and veteran jobs. So you are either a lawyer, a doctor, or a teacher. But now the job portfolios have changed. It's no longer important to be a lawyer. It's what does your knowledge in the law help solve the community problem? So I think that if you're looking for skills to be teachable, you have to open yourself up to be teachable every day on something new, but also you have to be predictable. Say this is what's happening in the marketplace. This is how different it's shaping, and educate yourself for those changes. There's a lot of work, for example, currently that will eliminate or exclude a lot of us based off of what we don't know. For example, if you're unable to code, just basically write in computer language, it'll be very hard for you to be in the marketplace 10 years from now because a lot of work will be done through coding language. If you're unable to be teachable, for example, it'll be hard for you to learn the new trends that are happening in the job space, in the marketplace. But also, I always tell people, in your interaction with the marketplace, let it be a two-way. You're interacting with the marketplace and it's shaping you, but you should also shape the way the marketplace looks. So if you take on a job, how different are you doing it so that the people that come after you say, oh, this is how this job has been done before, and it's been done in such a good way, so I want to build on that. So you kind of have to do something in the marketplace that leaves behind a legacy. And that builds for you a good fortune and also builds for you a good name. And If there's anything I've learned in the marketplace, it's a good name can open as many doors as you want. Even if you want to shift your career into another world, part of what will help you shift is how good of a name you've made in the marketplace. So be open, remain teachable, learn about the new trends that are happening, but also be yourself, apply yourself. Don't allow the marketplace to apply itself to you. Apply yourself to the marketplace. And that could be different. The other way to look at it is like the future of work. We're talking about marketplace like as though we will have these 9 to 5 jobs in the coming 10 years. It's very likely that we won't. A lot of the world is moving towards what we call a gig economy. Someone will hire you for 1 hour to do something that they want to solve. So they won't hire you for, say, 3 years and give you a contract. Someone will hire you for 3 months. So you have to be alive to the fact that we're getting into a gig economy and train, retool, and skill yourself for that. But also, very finally, is build a network. Everyone that you meet, strive at the very least to be friends with them. Strive to understand them. Strive to build networks that are beyond your understanding. It's not important that you have friends only around. It's good to have a circle, but in the marketplace, widen your circle. Speak to many people. If you're working in a company of, I work in a company of, say, we're close to 2,000 employees. And it's always for me like a learning experience. Every time we have like group meetings, I strive to learn something new. I sit sometimes with the newspaper circulation team, and I learn something new about how papers are circulated. Sometimes I sit with our techies, and I learn something new about how our website operates. But that kind of knowledge then allows me to be able to make decisions that would influence the workplace in a better way. So strive to have a network of people that's beyond your scope of understanding, that's beyond your scope of learning. And please make friends outside of your geographical region. Guys, you can't be Ugandan and all your friends are Ugandan. Like, widen your scope. Have friends from Kenya, have friends from Namibia, have friends from the UK, have friends from Poland. This kind of interactivity with friends from elsewhere exposes you to trends in those markets, but also exposes you to different thought patterns. And the one thing about making good decisions is if you have a great deal of information, you're able to make good decisions. If you have very little, a scope of information is very limited, then you can't make good decisions. So those would be the things that I'd give you as sort of tips. But of course, they're not gospel truths. You can as well unbound them and start afresh.
Thank you so much. That is very interesting, and it's wisdom itself. Really, I for one believe that if we are to reach somewhere, we need networking, and it needs a lot of work, just like you have said. But I would like to have the questions from the audience first. Is there anyone with a question for Mr. Raymond? All right, let's first have Mr. Brian say something about this the skills that he thinks we should attain in the journey as we are trying to beat the competition in the job market to be on the safer side.
All right. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I'll just say it this way: if you are to beat, this competitive job market, to always stand out, just make sure you are of value. Just one thing, and so yeah, just be of value. Let someone need you, let someone want you. That's what they're going to have to pay you. Yeah. So be of value. I break it down into 2 things. So I think one of the skills or qualities of character is going to be love. So you're going to have to care for something other than yourself. Like your community. So wanting to see it better, being empathetic. If you're at a workplace, how do you work with your team members? So that is like a major one, because if you're going to work even in gigs and all, the future, your values, the love, being empathetic is going to be like a number 1 skill. And then number 2 is about work. So first you love what you're going to be doing. That way you can easily create value. You love your community, you can easily want to create, things to improve your community. Your team, if you love them, then you contribute your work, energy, everything. Really. Now, number 2 is work. By work, I borrow it from a simple principle that I get from the Bible about the talents. All of us are given opportunities. All of us are given gifts, We have to be accountable. Work equals to accountability. And accountability is having return. So have those 2 things. Make sure whatever opportunity you're given, whatever gift you have a personal, be accountable to yourself. What have I done about this gift? What have I done about this opportunity? You've been given a sales opportunity. Go and sell. Show more. Don't just be there, and come back and there's no result. So the parable of returns of the talents tells us how Jesus awarded, them best of their abilities. So all these gifts we have been given to us based on the abilities. So probably God has seen that this is what we can handle, and that's why you have the gift you have. If you're good at singing, that's why you have it. If you're an artist, that's why you have the art skill. It's a gift. Make sure you account for that. And the thing of the parable goes on to tell us those who didn't, like the guys who didn't return profit on the talents or gifts that were given, it was taken away from them. So if you don't develop your talent, if you don't account for your gift and create more, if you don't account for that job opportunity you've gotten to account more, it's going to be taken away from you, given to another person. So the future is serious. The future is not about, hey, we love you, come and we give you. Then go be in a charity community who come donate to you. But to compete and stand out in any job, those 2 values to me really, I feel like you have them, you will do anything. It won't matter, if you're the best developer or whatever, but that attitude to give more, to be accountable, that I've been given this job as a developer, let me do more. Let me finish the job that has been given to me. I've been given this money, let me work and increase it. I've been basically increase. That's what work is. So you have those 2 values, you'll stand out. I don't know of any employer who doesn't want anyone that increases. So goes back to be of value, which is broken down into love the work that you do, love your community, love the people you work with, be empathetic, feel for them, and then 2, be accountable. Work, basically account for the, show return to the work you have. That way you can do whatever, and there will be more given to you. So the parable also goes on to say, those who return gifts are given more. So if you return more of what has been given to you, the opportunity, if it's a cook, I don't know, any job really. If it's news, you capture all the stories, you're on time, you're going to be promoted. If you're in a company, you're a tech guy, you're going to be promoted. Those are laws of life. It's so merit-based. This system that the universe created is so merit-based. You have to grow. So I think about the future, we just need to be serious about those, and the job market will be so easy.
Thank you so much. That is a lot to learn, being valuable and giving accountability. That involves having to work hard so you can have a good accountability to present forth. That is amazing. Let's have Madam Hawa give us what she thinks about the question.
Thank you. So in terms of skills to earn, I don't think there is one specific skills or a list of specific skills, because we live right now in a society where we need diversity. We need to have specialization. So something I would like to mention to each one of you is to know your specialization, because that's what will make you stand out as well. So I'm thinking about, for example, we have students who are in engineering. So like, that you have some core skills, some hard skills that you will be able to use and bring value to the economy or your community in general. So do not hesitate to think about, what will be my specialty. However, as mentioned before, and also as we have witnessed this pandemic, like, the world is changing very, very quickly, right? So an element that is actually universal to each one of us, and especially our generation, is adaptability. because the world that we are knowing, for example, like that we knew 10 years ago is totally different from the one that we have now. And it will even like increase, like the changes will increase like faster and faster as time goes with, for example, new technologies and also like some challenges such as climate change, etc. So we need to be aware of it. Another element I would like to mention for youth is really build your network. Your network is actually the support system that you will be able to have. So when I'm talking about network, I'm not only talking about the CEOs or the MPs in those places, it's also about the people that are around you, because you know that in the future, they could also be the ones that will help you, or the ones that will share you some opportunities, and vice versa. You will also be able to, share some knowledge, some insights, some opportunities with them. And we should never forget that we are, first of all, like social beings. So the first element that people will remember out of you, yes, like it is your, your skills, but on top of that, like how do you behave with others? How do you connect with others? So that's how like networking is fundamental. And also like when you're working in a field, you also know that you are building your brand, right? You're building your brand. So that's where we need to have like professionalism. So when I'm talking about professionalism, it's what, as Brian was saying, it is really like a good attitude, being accountable to yourself, arriving on time, being respectful to others, making sure that you are doing the things that you were supposed to do. You are also, eager to learn and surpass yourself and getting out of your comfort zone, because like really what will distinguish you from others? Like we all have like different skills, like when we get out of university and school, but what also distinguishes us from others is really the attitude and the personality that we have. We should never forget that, because human beings are social beings. And it's very important to have this, humanist philosophy, because we're not necessarily working with machines, we're working with people. And like the one that will hire you, the one that will, would like to open opportunities for you are human beings. So like the memory that they will have from you, or the impact that they will think of you is also like, the attitude that you had on top of the work that you have been able to provide. And also it doesn't only start like when you finish school, it's like when you are at school. So Bakash is a very good example where it was initiated as a student, and like, so do not hesitate. It's never too early to start your network, to start to work on yourself, on your skills. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you
sorry,
so much.
I wanted to add something else. I apologize. I wanted to say something from my experience, another element, and also I think Mr. Mujuni was saying this, is network with people that are outside of your own circle. So make sure that you get the opportunity to be with those people. So on my hand, like my experience was really about learning another language. So we are here, we're very lucky, like in Uganda, most of us like know, more than 2 languages. We have English and others, but do not hesitate to, for example, like learn, be fluent with Swahili for some people, with French, with and Arabic. So this also will allow you to enlarge your scope. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am really learning, and I hope our audience is learning as well. I'm speaking about brand building and networking. According to the journey that Brian told us himself, he said he was doing corporate work. I'm deciding to use the word due to lack of words. A corporate work for people who paid him actually less, but he was securing the job for next time. So it comes back to accountability. And just like Hawa has said, you give it your best in the way of networking, because the person you do good to, we'll of course come back to you because you have actually good work. And yeah, I would like to ask our panelists, let's get personal at some point right now. My next question, how are you preparing yourself? Allow me to start with Brian. How are you preparing yourself in this elevation of work in your field of technology entrepreneuring? I think that's the field. Yeah, how are you preparing yourself? Like we have been talking about how the world is going or is running on a higher rate, and the world is changing. So give us a scoop on how you're preparing yourself for this fast running world and the future to come.
Thank you. That is very interesting. That is more like, you know, how are you gonna achieve the future and all. So personally, what we're doing, we've set very ambitious goals that are guiding our journey, and also we think would be meaningful for us to achieve. But the two main things I'm doing really that are going to carry us forward in the future, even position us to tap into the opportunity that, you know, work will bring in the future, what the global market will be like. I could say there are mainly two. So one, we are building teams. You know, I'm relying on people. It's no longer about me and what I have to do. It's about, am I working with the team? Are we, you know, all collectively coming together, brainstorming, you know, and putting bits and pieces together for, you know, this vision that we have. So I'm really focusing on a team is like a major one in preparing for the evolution of work. And yeah, and also team has so many benefits really, because one of the strong benefits that I like is we you know, we all can't be too excited every day. You know, so many days you have an off day, you don't want to show up for work, you know, you're not feeling it. And if you are working as a solo person, that means that day no business will be, you know, your business won't show up. If you work on social media and you're not feeling it, that means you won't be able to post. If you had clients you wanted to meet, that means you won't be able to meet them because you're not feeling well. And if it goes on 5 days, that means for 5 days, nothing has happened. But the beauty of a team is they help cover up for all these different, you know, people, you know, and the moods that we get to feel, you know. So every single day is a show up day because of a team. So that is like a major one. And then number two, personally, to have the advantage, we keep investing in technology. Every other day we are developing, we are creating new tools that are going to make work easier. So, you know, and the simple question we ask ourselves is what will be true, you know, 10 years from now? What's the customer convenience going to be like? Are they going to be using voice, you know, voice assistants to book from our app? You know, how are we going to compete globally? And so we make sure we are researching and we are reading. So how we are going to prepare ourselves for the evolution, really reading, researching, and investing in that. We read a lot. Even the team will take up short, small courses, keep learning things, and yeah, to always have the advantage of knowledge. So I think whatever challenge it is, the more knowledge you acquire about that specific challenge, the closer you are to solving it. So we keep at that. And our challenge would be the vision that we have to make it easy for everyone to travel, but also by providing opportunity for people to do their life's work, you know, earn money, doing things they love to benefit community and others. So those are like the main mission we are on. And to achieve that, we have to keep reading, investing in our technology and research. And then the other, which I mentioned earlier, is the team. So relying on team, that's why Tubayo is a big team. We are about 40 people. Of course, most of them are part-time, but we have a core 14-man team. They are crazy. These are the guys that are building things that, you know, that Uganda is going to be proud of, that Africa is going to be proud of. In fact, we keep telling guys, you know, if Amazon, you know, and Apple have created this much opportunity for Africa, we are going to create opportunity that, that will show that if you can do it, everyone else can do it, because these are just normal people, just like any of us really. So yeah, I know I've gone around, but yeah, the team and really investing and reading is how we are positioning for the evolution that will come in future. And the best one around that is you create the future you want to see. So yeah, we keep at that, we work hard. That means the future is we're creating it now, because it's us that are going to create how travel happens in the country, how people book, how everyone affords travel, how everyone earns and and saves and spends for travel. So yeah, just showing up every day, working with the team and investing in research and reading.
Oh, thank you so much, Brian. Let's have Hawa. And Brian has talked about teamwork. I really agree with that. As Bakash Media, we have a team as well. A team is just like a push force. So you can forward, you can overcome everything with a team. Let's have Hawa tell us how the CREED is actually preparing itself for this fast running world in regards of work.
Thank you so much. Regarding team building, I want to remind an African citation, which says like, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go further, like go with a team. And also on someone's request, I put our social media, CEED Concordia's media, and my LinkedIn. Don't hesitate to network. So back to your question, Anne. So I try to prepare myself for the future. There is no specific recipe, but one thing I want to say is really adaptability. Adapt yourself and also often expect for the unexpected, because like, as I was saying before, like we right now live in a fast-paced environment with new technologies, new challenges that we haven't necessarily heard before or we had to face before. So I'm currently thinking, because like me, I am mostly into sustainability. I know that, with the issues of, for example, climate change, we are keep learning and learning and learning. So like, for example, how do we adapt ourselves to, like being resilient towards the problem of climate change? So on my hand, what I have been trying to do is learning, and learning not only from the circle I know, from the sources I know, but learning from others, learning from other research, and also why not continue school and education. So after I graduated from Concordia University in Canada, I also decided to pursue a certificate in sustainable investment, because I was more and more aware that the challenges of ESGs were more and more important in the field. And this was something that everyone was mentioning, but also you could see how important it is and how interesting it was. And right after that, actually, I'm going to go back again to school, to do an MBA, because you are also have to be aware that like you never know everything as one person. So like the amount of knowledge that you need to acquire is immense. And it's not just about, going back to school. It's really about being mentored, for example. Like that was a huge element in my career path. Like I don't think I would be here without the mentors that I had, and who gave me, some insights I would have not necessarily seen as someone who's just started her career. And also like as Mr. Raymond saying, like, read books, watch videos about stuff that you might not necessarily know. So again, as I was saying, adaptability, which actually means, building your knowledge, again, building your network and broaden your perspective. Thank you. I see Isaac raising it.
Yeah, thank you so much. We are actually going to have time for questions, but I've already seen Mr. Bakash's hand is up, and since he's my boss, I am allowed to give him time to ask the question or say what he has to say. I give you a chance to unmute. That's if the hand is intentioned.
Yes. Thank you so much. Not because I'm the boss, no. I just want, and before she concludes, sorry, Hawa, to tell us. So you're adapting to, the new way, and you're going back to school. You're learning all these skills and getting the knowledge. So did you have? My question is, before you end, did you have mentors, people who were guiding you to take that direction, or it was self-reflection over time on things you need and the skills you want to possess? Did you have people who are guiding you along that journey? Because many of us, do things out of influence, or okay, say let me have the masters, or so were you under some guidance of your parents, or it was maybe just your personal reflection on what you want to be and what you want to become and what you want to achieve? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question. I think it's really both, right? It is the people that are around you and yourself with self-reflection. So that's why when we were saying networking is really important, it's yes about like the people that are your peers, but also the people that you can learn from. So like I'm thinking again about the proverb that I was saying before, like if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go further, go with a team. So when I was thinking about my career path, I think like all the people that have supported me was actually like made literally a team, because everyone has different perspective, everyone has different knowledge. So like in terms of diversity of insights, it allows you to see the things that you would not necessarily see. And as I was saying, like, do not hesitate to go towards people that are out of your own circles. So me, for example, I was mentored, by people who have worked in finance, but also in technology, in entrepreneurship. I had people who were actually the same age range as I. Others were at much older than I. And I've also tried to be, for example, in mentorship programs. So right now I'm actually mentored by, the CEO of Siemens Canada, which is, a very large company in Canada and around the world. And this type of things, like there are so many different networking opportunities, or just the fact that you are involved within Bakash Foundation, participating to panels like this, allow you to also network with people that, have knowledge or insight that you might not necessarily have. So it was both self-reflection is important, but also this self-reflection has also to come from different inspiration, whether it is your family members, your friends, but also people who are in industries and places that you are inspiring for. So sometimes it's great to reach out to some people, or also attending to events where you know that you can have certain people that you would like to learn from or associate yourself with, or look for different leadership programs, internship programs that allow you to connect with others. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Hawa. That is interesting, and I've learned a lot. She talks about being adaptable, like you can adjust and be flexible to the new changes and expect anything. She talks about also going beyond your circles, your field, networking beyond where you think you're supposed to stop. She has gained mentorship from different people, and really it's interesting, and I'm learning a lot. I hope the audience is learning a lot as well. So I'm requesting to have my last question so I can open up to the audience, because our time is so fast spent. What jobs, I'll begin with Brian, what jobs do you predict in your field in the future? Like with the experience that you've had in the technology, entrepreneuring, what jobs can you predict to be existing in the nearby future for the, of course, upcoming entrepreneurs just after you?
Yeah, thank you. That is, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So about the future jobs that we predict, I'll talk for like the industry I'm in. I'm in the travel industry, and I borrow this from sectors like Uber, businesses like Uber, Mr. Raymond said it earlier, how the future is almost going to be a gig, economy all through. People are appreciating their values and people are getting perspective. And by perspective, I mean, there's a job offering you 500,000 or 1 million and requires you to be present 8 hours a day, 7 days a week or 5 days a week, and you can't afford to pay your rent, you can't afford to lifestyle, and maybe you get. So people are getting perspective and they are taking up all these opportunities within the gig economy. And by this, I mean, someone is just going to have a car and know if I drive today 7 hours, I'm going to earn maybe 150 with Uber, So why am I getting into a job if I can do that money in 5 days, And over the weekend, I can make money as a host on a platform like Tubayo, On the weekend, if I can host a cooking class at my place and every guest that comes through pays about 40K, if I host 10 people, that's 400,000. So guys are going to get smarter and have perspective on how to make money. And now there are tools that are enabling that. So today you can't cry there's no opportunity. All these gigs, like today, I think travel is going to be everyone's business, because at home, how our parents built our house, their houses, they had like the main house, and they had the boys' quarters, they had what, you could have a personal touch on those boys' quarters and they become cute little cottages to host guests, and you're earning $30, $40 per room or, per night. $30 is 120,000. So if you do that for a week, I don't see someone leaving that to get into a job that's requiring them to spend 8 hours. So the future really is about taking on this opportunity of the gig economy, and particularly in travel, we've availed a platform where you can develop that. I will tell you for a fact that whatever strange passion or talent you have, there is someone on the internet that resonates with that will book and pay you money for that. So if you have dogs, because you love dogs and you have like 4 dogs, you could design a hiking experience in Mienga with the dogs, and you have like 6 people who just want to come and hike with you with your dogs, and they're paying maybe 50K per person. So 6 people, 2 hours, you've made 300,000 and it's done. You're going back home. You love what you're doing, So me, that's the future I see. And why I say this was an interesting scenario in China where someone killed a mosquito, put it up for sale on the Alibaba site, and there were so many guys that wanted to buy it. So you can imagine there is someone that resonates with your passion, with your talent on the internet. That's why everyone has like likes on their post. There's people who really like what you're doing. So the future of jobs in the travel industry, I think everyone has to have a travel business. You don't need to have an office. You don't need to have a marketeer or an accountant. All you need is an account on a platform like Tubayo. Create your host account. Put up a class. Put up a cooking class. Maybe you make ruombo. Put it up. There will be 20 foreigners who are interested in local dishes, and they will pay you $20 or $30 per person. If you get that per month, those are extra savings. If you love baking, put up a baking class. If you love, I don't know, whatever it is, put it up there. If you have an extra space that you can put out for accommodation, so many people are looking for space around town. This town we have is not increasing in size, but more people are coming into town. Where do you think they're going to stay? There's an opportunity in the accommodation part, So for me, those are the jobs I see. Gig jobs, people really maximizing their time to earn the most, and they're going to take advantage of platforms like Tubayo, platforms like Uber, platforms like Safe Border to earn that. And today they're even taking advantage of like social media sites. You can start selling online. You have your collection of bags, you sell them online, and you're making a difference. So I think that's the future of jobs. It's going to take great value, really. Those jobs that cause efficiency. These jobs are all going for, in an office being 30 people. I think in the future it's going to be done by just 2 people. So you have to be of value so that you are not displaced. but there's opportunity. There will be much more opportunity for anyone to earn in the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wish I would write the business ideas you kept on giving us along the way, but it's interesting. I hope everyone else is speaking something. It spoke of, there's actually no jobs if you come to analyze it, and with time, the way we're going, there will be no jobs, but you just need to, like our next topic is going to be monetizing passion and skill. So you just have to put the money issue in your passion, then you start to earn something. Let's have Madam Hawa tell us about the question as well.
Yes, if you can please remind me the question, which is like...
Yes, the question is, what jobs do you predict in the near future in your field, like CEED, the nearby future? What jobs do you predict would be available at CEED?
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be very broad. The first thing I'm thinking right now is sustainability. So sustainability does not go into only one industry. It's actually into almost everything. I know that right now we are in a transition stage where we have like more and more sustainability experts. However, it is, you know, a very broad term. So I gave the example of engineering, for example, because we know that infrastructure is like one of the main factors of ecological footprint from human beings. And like when you have engineers that have also a great knowledge about like how to be, you know, create, for example, sustainable buildings that are adaptable to the needs, that are also resilient to climate change, that's a good skill to have. Same as, for example, entrepreneurship, or even like in the industry of travel, as Mr. Brian, how do you make sure that, you know, the travel company that you have is much more inclusive and like avoid to have, you know, huge climate change impact? Or right now, I have studied in finance, for example, and I know that finance is, I would say, a very a field that is very focused on profits. So like I've worked in that field, and we're trying to have portfolios that were earning as much as possible during the end of the year. But now more and more, we have noticed that it is truly important to take into consideration the environmental, social, and governance factor at the same time, because when we talk about sustainable, it's not just about, you know, being good for the world, it's also about, you know, being willing to continue and work in the long run, and still having a system that works in the long run. So for example, a business cannot necessarily be totally irresponsible towards the environment. So like, for example, we see Total, which is a French company that is well known for, you know, selling oil and also exploiting oil, and they've tried to change their name, for example. I don't know if it is, you know, like sometimes like some industry are I would say have a huge impact towards the environment, but also they have a huge responsibility towards, you know, having new renewable energies, or changing the system in which we use the energy, and like being much more sustainable in the long run. So again, I think you've heard it many times, sustainability, and that applies in almost every different industries, and not just in finance, not just in entrepreneurship, it is also in engineering, it is even sometimes in art. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You need sustainability, everybody. We need sustainability to get the job or to reach somewhere in the career that we want to drive. I'd like to request our audience, if you have a question, please raise up your hand or write it in the inbox so I can read it out for our panelists. But in the due time, as you're raising up your hands or typing, I'd like to get what your final words are to the young generation, to the young people on this platform, listening to you and learning and actually writing right now. What are your last words or last regards to them? Thank you. I'll go with you, Brian, first, then Hawa will come next.
All right. So my words will definitely be have perspective. You know, recognize reality. Especially like career-wise. You know, what is it that you want to be? Don't just be, go with the wind. You know, hey, is this go there? He's go there. You know, well, that will help, but like, be very intentional on finding your purpose, or like how I said earlier, also identifying those gifts, the things that you're good at. So be intentional on that. Have perspective, really. Yeah, so that way you're able to make better decisions. And also, really, pray a lot. We pray a lot, really, for guidance. It's a major one. God has given us the Holy Spirit to guide us. So pray a lot. Seek out mentors. They help build on your perspective. Yeah. But my parting shots is our responsibility. No matter who you are, all of us have a responsibility to leave the world a better place. As much as that sounds so fishy and all, but we have a responsibility to leave the world a better place, to leave our community a better place. So, if we need to see change in our community, it's our responsibility to take it up. It's our responsibility to create opportunities, our responsibility to, put in the work, to show love to our neighbors, our community, our, respect for our leaders. So yeah, and then keep dreaming, really. All these things we see that we love, this platform that we have today, Bakash, had to dream and execute and put it in place. It's a major thing, a major opportunity that he has provided for us right now. So we all have it in us. I think we can all be extraordinary people in our unique ways. Yeah, so choose to be of value, create something for community, give work for community, do something bigger than yourself, that benefits others. So yeah, so have perspective. How to get the perspective? One, you can pray, seek guidance from God, and then two, you can reach out to mentors or friends, talk to them. That way you develop, ideas, you have to recognize your gifts. And then three, once you have all of that, be intentional on contributing value to community, being more bigger, do something bigger than yourself. I'm very excited about our work, how she's doing it in different communities, not just Senegal, she has come to Uganda, to create value, create sustainable development and like initiatives. That is like mind-blowing stuff. Yeah, I think we need to all take a decision to be bigger and better humans. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really interesting, and the words that he has given us of his last remarks, it's really interesting. You have to be a young person that has an intention. Just don't be blown by the wind. Choose what you want to take, the path that you want to take. And thank you so much. Allow me give chance to Madam Hawa to tell us her last words as we close up.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your words, Brian. I would like to take something of what you have said, which is do something greater than yourself. Yes, because like in everything that you're doing, try to be driven, try to see like the bigger picture after it, and not just a job for the sake of having a job. You are willing to great impact, great skills if you're also truly dedicated and driven by what you are doing. Also, to respond to your question, another element I would say is being comfortable. Be comfortable of being uncomfortable. I don't know if you see what I mean, but get used to be uncomfortable sometimes, because in uncomfortable zones, that's what I mean. And this means, again, learn. I know that sometimes it is tough, that we are all very busy with school, with, with work, but do not hesitate to take the time to learn something that you do not necessarily know, to learn from others, and to learn beyond your scope. And that means reading, that means networking with people that are not necessarily in your circle. That means also trying to do experiential learning, go into internships, go into different areas than the ones that you know. So travel, that could be within Uganda or abroad. So yes, I think that's very important. And last thing I would like to say, be confident. Like, I know that when you're young and you do not necessarily have a lot of experience, you believe that you might not necessarily have a lot to bring to the table, but you will never be able to develop yourself if you're not trying. So be confident and try to be sometimes, bold, like create initiatives, reach out to people that you might not think, will be in your circle, or develop skills that you think that you will never know. So for example, me, the fact that I'm speaking in English with you is a big matter, because almost my whole life I was, speaking in French, but I'm like, let me try to speak in English. I know that it's not necessarily, comfortable, but do not hesitate to be uncomfortable. And it is never too early to start. So start as early. Do not necessarily wait for school to finish or to graduate or to wait for the next step. I think like action and your story is now. So, take initiatives now and as early as possible to build more skills, to build further network, and be a better person. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hawa. We should learn to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. It's really interesting, very interesting, and I'm learning a lot. I've seen another hand, and I would like to give an opportunity. I hope this is the only hand we have today, because our time is fast spent. I would love to have as many questions as we can, but since our time is fast spent, I will only have one question. But I would like to remind all of you, you can visit the inbox. They're going to put up a link that will lead you to our question survey that we are carrying out as Bakash Media Foundation. You go there and tap the link after the session. You tap the link, answer those questions. It will be of help to us, and it shall be of help to you as well. And in next year, as Bakash Media, our panelists kept on talking about learning. And Bakash Media Foundation has you covered. We are planning next year, we are going to have a skill mastery program. So everybody that wants to adapt their skills, Bakash Media is on you. Skill mastery is going to help you master the skills that you love, the passion, add more value on yourself. And yes, let me allow Bakashava ask his question, and then we shall have the next thing on program.
All right, thank you so much, Anne. So you guys, I'm sorry if I'm asking a lot, because I've not seen any hand from the audience. And also, I think what you forgot to inform the audience, these sessions or these videos are going to be on our YouTube channel. They're always on our YouTube channel. So if you missed, you can always go there and check them out. So my question goes to the two of them. First is for Brian. What should youth startups here in Uganda do? What are the basic things they have to do for them to increase their impact and their output to the society? And how can they really be resilient in these times, in this country where I think the government doesn't really fully support youth startups? What are the basic things you people did, like Tubayo, to be consistent, to be, to keep around, to increase your output to the people you provide the services to? What are the basic things you people have done and where we could learn? And then to Hawa, I would like to ask, how are the systems in Canada for youth startups? Do they favor youth startups? Do people have incubators? Does the government have innovation hubs where they mentor these youth startups, or where they fund them? Because literally in Uganda, it's hard for a youth startup, most especially us in the social enterprise, to really keep around for some time, because the government really provides support in form of funding. So the startup capital is always hard for us to get so that we can deliver the services we deliver now. So how is it in your country? Does the government provide a special fund for youth startups or for youth innovators with brilliant ideas? How is it? And how could you also, as youth startups in Uganda, like Bakash Media Foundation, how could we tap into your opportunities? How could we tap into your space to also get that opportunity of, connecting with you and also putting out the work our audience? Thank you. I don't know if I've made sense.
You surely did make sense. I realized you gave questions to each of our panelists. So let's have Brian go first, since his question came first, and then Hawa shall go next. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Of course, while you're asking, you mentioned we don't get support from government. One thing I would say is, why should they support you? I would also borrow it from a talk I listened to by Jack Ma, where he said, people not supporting you is common. People not giving you support, that's all right. But if someone supports you, then that's not common. That's actually a unique case, and we need to study it. So I think it's common everywhere in the world. People don't just come. Of course, recognize that some people have put up soft or better environment for others to thrive and all. But I also, as an entrepreneur, I think there's a much bigger opportunity here. If something is not in place, there's an opportunity for people to fill up that gap. But but to answer the questions, how should youth startups? What should they do to increase impact and all? So one is be intentional on the goals and work with teams. Yeah, I tell you, especially Uganda, where you tried every time, there's no money, there's no support. You can't go alone here. You need a team. So that is the first step, having that team and, solving challenges in community. This that Bakash is doing, availing opportunity for, people to learn, getting all, because people are busy. I'll tell you for a fact, these days I'm so busy, but I love this opportunity. I love every opportunity to share with my age mates and young people. If people can create time for this, I think it's a great opportunity you're giving others. And so you just have to keep at it, and the wave will catch you. The reward will come. I know it doesn't make sense, but the reward for entrepreneurs, I think it comes from God. Because so many times you plan, let me do this, and I earn 1 million here, 2 million, and then before you know it, like a month or two, there's an opportunity and you earn 100 million. You didn't even plan it. That comes from God. So be intentional on the value you're giving. I'll tell you, there will be a reward from God. So, and then two, how can startups be consistent and to survive and all? So one, I'll just tell you, this is just strategy really. Recognizing realities of your startup is very important. One, ask yourself, how much money, that's the one thing that we all run away from. How much money does the startup have? And at this current burn rate, how many months or how much time do we have before we are gloomy, we are sad because there's no money? Be honest with yourselves. And then notice that, okay, we use 1 million or 5 million per month. You're like, wonderful. What can we do to survive a whole year, even if we didn't make money? That means 5 times 12 months, which means 60 million. So get the team, sit together, brainstorm. How can you get 60 million? I'll give you 100 ways you can do that. You could sell these t-shirts. You could make Bakash t-shirts. You could, come up with all these different programs that you can sell. Do some donations. Commit like a month, avail that, get that money, and then move on. So I think we need to recognize the realities of our businesses and be intentional on solving them. So the thing about startups, the real core is surviving, and surviving is money. So we address money here. I think it will be a major one. So being disciplined, even after you've gotten the money, how are you going to spend it? So that you develop until you prove a market. Once the market has been proved, then you can start to prove some business models that will then create income for you. And then there you increase your budgets, you increase, benefits to the team. But survival is all about money, and one has to be frank and open about that and recognize that they need to fix that. Otherwise, what's stopping you? You have the ideas, you have the people who have joined you. It's money, So be very open about the money bit, and then you could ask me, how do you raise money? One, I always use this: pray about it. Prayer brings more of whatever we need in our lives. So if you have no money, pray for more money. But two, reach out to people who have the money. Ask them how they've made money. They will tell you. They will help break down these business models that you could apply. So that is a major one. And after that, you just stay consistent, survive. The Google founders, when they asked them what was like the most genius thing they had done in their early times, this is what they said: the most genius thing we did was to survive, just hang in and survive. And as long as you're committed, there will be something. There will be something out there for you. So that's what I can share from like my personal experience. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's have Hawa answer her question as well.
Thank you. So the question was, are there, opportunities for young startups from Canada? So yes, like to respond to this question, yes, there are some incubators, some programs to support entrepreneurships or startups, particularly youth, and in things focused on technology. On technology, yes, and sustainability. Important to see what is around you. So even if the government might not necessarily be here, it is also important to have support from people, from institutions that actually know, the needs that are here, because even if you have support, like financial support from Canada, they might not necessarily know all the different needed details of challenges, of needs, etc. So the first thing I would like to advise is always see the different opportunities that are around you, and this goes beyond government needs. Another element, I've also been involved in a startup. I was actually in the advisory board of a startup that was registered in Canada and also works in Ghana and started to work in Rwanda. And so when you see this type of initiative, it is often people that have already worked in their home country or in the continent in general, and that have a greening interest. So they're also looking for support from the countries in which they want to be involved, and that includes, yes, people who have traveled already or people who have who are from the diaspora. So this is also something to look into. But as I said before, it is always important and great to see the different resources that are around you and know the support that actually know your challenges and your needs as an entrepreneur. Thank you. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much, Hawa. I also hope answered and comfortable with the answers that she has gotten. And yes, we have come to the end of our session. I would like to extend a sincere appreciation to our panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. Thank you, Hawa. We are really humbled to have you today. And we have learned a lot. Yes.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah. So lastly, be courageous. In whatever you're pursuing. Whether it's work, you're looking for a job, you're building that business. be courageous, show up every day. There is this thing I read in Proverbs. They say there is no lion out there on the streets. So why are you scared to go out there and grab that opportunity? So courage will get you things. There's no qualification for courage. You get opportunities that you thought you're not qualified for, but be courageous, be bold to ask for them, be bold to take them on. Just know you deserve it. Be expectant of like the great stuff you need. If you need a high-paying job, you need to start this incredible startup or idea. First believe that you deserve it and then go at it, because the courage really comes from knowing that God is with you. So God is going to be with you all the way. There is nothing that will go wrong. Everything will work out for you. So if there's anyone pushing for anything, just be courageous and go at it. That's why I keep doing it on a daily. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that a lot. It is nice to put God first, and I encourage the rest of us to do so. And yes, I was still thanking you. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot. It has been an enjoyable journey having a session with you people. It has been impactful to me, and I believe to the rest of the audience. We have learned a lot and can